First of all, a very warm welcome to all of you on the dais and off the dais. This probably represents the who's who of Indian management education. So can I request you to put your hands together and warmly welcome very, very distinguished speakers and all of you who are equally distinguished. I see Dr. Maitre in the room, Director of IIM Trichy. I see who's who from Indian management education assembled here to partake in the 10th edition of this conference. 9:30 in Delhi, if the hall is full, that means we really are engaged on the topic of the discussion, which is really important. And I was thinking last night that why did it take me a decade, 10 years, to think of this theme, which is faculty? This probably should have been the first theme of the conference of Indian Management Conclave. But as they say, better late than never. So, the theme of this conference is very, very dear to my heart and your heart, and we'll talk about it as we go along. Over the next 5 or 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, I'll take you through a little bit of recap. There are many new faces that I see in the room, many distinguished leaders in the room. Most of you would know this, but for those who are new to this, I will quickly run through what we've been trying to do with this conclave. This is not another conference. This is not another management conference. This is a conference that is trying to make a difference. And I will share with you a little bit of difference that we've taken. And as Dr. Chaturvedi says, first do something for 10 years and then think about anything else. So we've done it for 10 years, and I'm very grateful to the support from all of you here. So a journey and a recap of the IMC Journey theme of this conference, and then very quickly program overview. So this is what I intend to cover. Set the stage for 3 very distinguished speakers and Dr. Mintzberg, who we all know and who we all revere. So we started Indian Management Conclave in 2010. It was an idea, it was a concept, and at that time the backdrop was doom and gloom. Remember 2009, 2008, and business schools were shutting down. All of you would remember. And in that context, we created this conference because perhaps the best ideas come out when the times are tough. And we addressed the issues of the day, and this idea was shaped up in 2010. From the very first, we had distinguished speakers, very distinguished speakers, global in outlook, and most of them have sort of supported us through the 10-year journey. You can see Dave, who was then the president of GMAC, global president of GMAC. In 2011, idea gathers momentum. We scale up with world-class speakers. Dr. Shrikant Dattar, who you all know, his first address on his book was at the IMC Conclave, at this very forum, at this very place. So that is an idea that all of you have been impacted, and we played a small part. 2012, we draw the importance and the significance of the challenges that are happening around us to the policymakers, to the stakeholders, to the media. The theme was survival of the fittest. And the theme was because nobody was saying it, everybody was sensing it, but nobody was saying it, that there's a big crunch in management education 2010, 11, 12. So, we drew attention of the entire stakeholders. 2013 is when we had a pivot shift, as we call it. After the focus of the first 3 years on the problems and the challenges that management education is facing, we said, we've discussed enough of the problem. What is the solution? Can we help create solution? Can we bring best minds to this platform and help create solution? And that's where the journey of IMC version 2.0 started in 2013, where we shifted the focus from problem to solution, and we launched an initiative which is called IMC Awards. We had, at that particular forum, the award given by the then HRD minister, and we had who's who, not just from India, but from across the globe. You see the dean of Antai Business School, Lin Zhou. You see Rajendra Srivastava, who's now the dean of ISB, then at SMU. So who's who from not just India, but across the world. In 2014, we recognized, by the 2014, we were beginning to get recognition of India's definitive conference. We released a white paper in 2014, which we've talked about in past, but which has been in some sense, the inspiration for the 3-tier gradation that AICT has announced earlier this year, which you're all aware, where we talked about that India needs 3 types of business school. All business schools cannot be governed same, both internally and both as policy. We need 50 global business schools in India. We need schools with national orientation, and we need a large number of skill-focused business schools at the base of the pyramid to skill the people, to solve the skilling issue. So that was the vision of that paper, which we released with EPSI, and which was a huge success, and it led to ideas moving forward. By 2015, we expanded the focus of the conference. ISB hosted the first conference outside Delhi, and we then began to draw the best of learning from the best institutions from the country. So ISB hosted 2015, IIM Ahmedabad hosted 2016, where we had the leaders from IIM Ahmedabad, Tata's, Amul, talking about what they really practice, which is institutional building. Who's who in terms of speakers from across the globe. 2017, this was a time when industry was changing, and we began to focus on Industry 4.0 trends, because it's got a huge implication on both curriculum, pedagogy, and everything that we do. So that was 2017, and last conference was hosted by IIM Bangalore, and IIM Bangalore is really the leader at this point in time as far as the digitization of management education is concerned. Definitely in India, perhaps one of the leaders in Asia. So we requested IIM Bangalore, they hosted this conference, and we talked about on MBA pedagogy, what is it, how technology is reshaping and shaping. So that was 2018. So in a glance, this is what's been the IMC journey. And now today, as we stand, the conference has evolved, and there are 4 pillars of IMC initiatives today. The conference, the IMC Awards for Excellence in Management Education, and let me very quickly say a line about IMC Awards. We know what has happened to education awards and all kinds of awards, but this is one award that is unbiased, transparent, credible, so much so that the former President of India, after doing a scrutiny of the process for 3 months, 90 days, has accepted to give this award tomorrow. So thank you so much for supporting this initiative. Thank you so much for believing in the transparency of the process. Dr. Shekhar Chaudhary is here. Dr. Krishnan will join. Dr. Dholakia, who's been part of this, and many leaders who've been part of this. We can create institutions, we can create examples by doing it rather than criticizing it. So that's been our initiative, build credibility around what we are doing, and that's what we've tried to do with this award. We'll talk more about it as we go along. IMC Distinguished Alumni Awards. Many times we only celebrate, pardon my saying so, heroes from the top 3 or top 4 business schools. That's a mistake. Business school leaders, business schools across the spectrum are creating business leaders, especially the PGDM business school education, which I am a proud product of, which has created huge leaders, but the business press, the headlines rarely talk about them. So we created this award a few years back talking about PGDM business leaders who went to PGDM business schools, MDI, XLRI, IRMA, so on and so forth, and have done exceedingly well, not just in India, but across the globe. So this is that celebration. And finally, something that we launched at ISB, which was the faculty development master classes, faculty development programs. So we draw in the best experts on the issues that are theme, and then we talk about those themes. Along the process, we've tried to document, which has been the piece that we believe has been missing. So each of the award winners have been documented in form of a book, which has been published by leaders, global leaders like McGraw-Hill, Pearson, and so on and so forth. So these case studies are actually available for you to access and know about and learn from the best. We will also be soon launching a digital version of it, so you can access all the cases online by a login. Coming to the theme. You know this theme much more than I do. I've got just 3 slides. The idea is to connect with what we are doing today, and I will not belabor this point, but this is how we've gone about the evolution of IMC Journey in the last few years coming up to this theme. 2015-16, we talked about Industry 4.0, future of jobs, and how does that impact mission and learning goals of a business school? You all understand this better than I do. We then said, what is the impact of Industry 4.0 on MBA curriculum? Are we teaching them stuff which does not hold water in the new digital era? And this is what we probed. MBA curriculum in 2017. Soon after, AICT released a report which was authored by Dr. Mukherjee on MBA curriculum and talking about the need to revamp the MBA curriculum. 2018, we focused on pedagogy. Are we focusing too much on case and lecture method? And we had put out data last year. It's there in the handbook that you have. Today, there's a need to immerse students, move out of the classroom. And that's where experiential learning and technology, we discussed those tools. And then we said, who's going to make the changes in curriculum and who's going to implement a new pedagogy? And hence, who? So this conference is about you. This conference is about who? The faculty and the mindset and the skills that are required for this era. And let's celebrate it. I mean, Dr. Jain, Nitin Noria, Raghuram Rajan, Pankaj Ghimawat, Vijay Govindarajan, and many others are global leaders. I think we can put our hands together. Really, the Indian thought leadership, you go outside the country and they really respect you. But challenges abound, and this is what this conference is all about. Participant, the millennials in the classroom, and this does change the game. We'll talk about it. Experts will talk about it over the 2 days. The programs which we are using to create faculty, the PhDs, the fellows, the FDP, are we balancing research and teaching effectively? And you will hear Dr. Mintzberg very shortly talking highly critically about this. And you know, there is a white paper, I'll briefly talk about it, theme paper, briefly talk about it. Industry immersion. No longer industry engagement is valid. Today we have to go into immersion. Industry engagement was something that you engaged for 2 days in a month or 2 days every quarter. Today we have to immerse with industry. Top 10, top 15 business schools are able to do it. But is there a scalable model that is possible through which we can make sure that all faculty members of at least top 200 business schools are able to immerse themselves in industry? And there has to be a model for it. It can't be 100 business schools writing mails to corporate leaders, same corporate leaders, and getting no response. What is the response of industry chambers, policymakers, education chambers like EPSI, IMA, AIMS, many, to address this issue? Can we create a scalable model? We'll talk about it as we go along. Governance. What's the framework for a faculty-driven private business school? Right? You all understand this much more than I do. Framework for faculty-driven private business schools. In public schools, IIMs, to some extent this has been practiced, but what is a possible framework? And this, of course, is a huge critic of what we are doing, which is the Warren Bennis article, which is there in the handbook that you have. I'll again briefly talk about it. And just to summarize, there are 4 roles of faculty: teacher, researcher, consultant, and trainer. This is the classic definition of faculty. And are we able to address these 4 roles? Put your hand on your heart and ask yourself this question. Are we able to cover, are we able to talk about all these 4 roles? If there is a issue, if there is a challenge, who's responsible? And more importantly, who will fix it? Now, this is an extract from a theme paper, IMC 2019 theme paper by Dr. S.R. Singhvi. The theme paper is part of the Black Book. I request you, all of you, to read. It's a very hard-hitting theme paper, but we thought it's very important to put out, say things as they are. He says The expected role of B-School faculty today is thoroughly mauled. What you have is either a scientific researcher or teacher who's primarily information driver, or a soft skill trainer for manager, and hardly a consultant. The need is to have an integrator who can bring research, teaching, consulting, and training skills to deliver a truly professional MBA education. So please have a look at this this theme paper, which is part of the black book, which is there with you. It will give you insights from somebody who's practiced both at industry as well as now as a senior management educator as to where is the model and what is broken. So today, coming to the theme, there are 5 anchors of IMC 2019 which will address these issues, which will create engagement, which will give you insights on all those 3 issues. First is the plenary session, immediately following the inaugural, which is talking about faculty effectiveness in 21st century classroom, which addresses the role of millennials. And if you see the program agenda, we've got who's who from all across the country addressing this issue. Plenary 2 talks about what's broken as far as FDP, our faculty initiatives are concerned. These are people who are designing FDP programs, fellow programs, PhD programs across the country, and they will address this plenary is headed by Dr. Rishikesh Krishnan. Plenary 3 will talk about faculty-driven B-School, process, outcome, and implication, which will happen tomorrow. Plenary 4 is on industry immersion, opportunity and expectations. And finally, the IMC Awards, which will give you takeaways, which will give you ideas, concepts, practices, which people have implemented on the theme of the conference. So in total, you will hear about 14 concepts, initiatives, ideas, and the best 6 will get awarded by former president tomorrow afternoon. So these are the 5 anchors of Indian Management Conclave, which we've created to address whatever I've been saying for the last 10 minutes, and hopefully there will be significant takeaway from this particular conference. So thank you very much, and let the show begin. Thank you.